Hi, it's Mike here with another review video brought to you in collaboration with Factory Direct Hobbies. Well, today I've got something a little bit special for you. It's not a little bit special, it's massive. It's absolutely huge. It's a massive bit special. It's HobbyBoss's 1 in 18 scale, yes, you heard that right, 1 in 18 scale AV-8B Harrier II. And it builds up into a massive model. Here, let me pick this up so you can see it in the context of me. It's absolutely huge. I got this because I really wanted to make something big and massive. And I wasn't really sure what I was going to get in the kit. At the price point, it's just under $160 at Factory Direct Hobbies, which isn't a huge price for a model of this size and this scope. So I really wasn't quite sure what I'm going to get. Trumpeter, the parent company of HobbyBoss, can be a little bit of a mixed bag. HobbyBoss can be a little bit hit and miss as well. So I wasn't quite sure what I was going to get. I started building this model and it just knocked my socks off. The quality of the fit and engineering on this kit is as good as anything else that's out there. It really is. It holds its own against some of the best Tamiya kits. And I was really surprised at that. That was something that I wasn't expecting. I thought this kit might just have been big for the sake of being big, but it was so much more than that. It's a very big model, obviously. I keep reiterating that over and over again. I'm still, awestruck by quite how big this thing is. But with that, it's also quite heavy. Now, does the construction stand up to the weight of the model? Absolutely it does. It absolutely does. The thickness and quality of the plastic is absolutely superb. It feels as though you could throw this thing around and it wouldn't break. I wouldn't try that, but it feels that way. It feels absolutely solid. All the parts screw together nicely, so it's got plenty of large screws holding this thing together. It has operational features, which I really liked. I'm not normally one for moving parts, but on this one, they actually work really well. For example, the landing gear, you can fold it up and you can put it down. The landing bay doors as well, open and close really easily. And so let's say you had this on display on a table or something like that, and you were getting hungry because you couldn't eat anymore because you had a massive model airplane on the table. You could fold up the landing gear and hang it from the ceiling from fishing line. Very high braking strength fishing line, because I think this could give you quite a concussion if it dropped on your head. It really is very big. But I was really impressed by that. Opening and closing speed brake as well, which I liked. I thought that was really good. And those parts, the moving parts, are made of a stronger kind of plastic than the overall. It doesn't glue as well as the normal plastic. You end up having to use kind of super glue to get it to glue. But it's much, much stronger, and that is super, super smart. With a model of this size and a model of this weight, having that extra strength in those manipulatable areas and load-bearing areas is really, really clever. I was really, really impressed by it. On the positive side again, let's talk about the decals. The decals were superb. They were the standard Trumpeter HobbyBoss type decals. So be careful using them. They can be pretty fragile, but when they go on, man, that carrier film just melts away on them. I use some microsol just to really put them into position, and they look like they're painted on. They really do. It's absolutely superb how well those decals went. But when you make one, if you make one, be a little bit careful with them, because if you're a bit rough with them, you can easily break them. So give them a good soak, really let them come loose from the backing paper rather than trying to sort of force them off. And when they are kind of loose and they're slipping around nicely, then apply them to the model. But as long as you do that, you shouldn't have any problems with it at all. So were there any downsides about this model? Well, for me, not really. Not really at all. For me, everything worked really well. Now, I think for what I was looking for from the model, I think if you were a hyper detail person, I think there'd be a few small annoyances about this. Because of the screws that are used to assemble the model, they run through some of the wheel wells. And so if you're looking to hyper detail the wheel wells, which you may well want to do at something this scale, they really aren't accurate, some of the stuff in the wheel wells, because they're made there to make this model strong. Now, if on the other hand you're making a model and you're not going to be looking in the wheel wells, and let's be honest, even you hyper detailers out there, you probably don't look in the wheel wells all that often. You can probably get beyond that. I certainly can. Some of the areas where the screws went in the side as well, there's small plugs. You have to really sand those down a little bit to get them to work. But it's not the end of the world. But again, they're features that aren't really there on the real aeroplane. So it does detract a little from the detail of the model if you let it. But you don't really notice them because it's so big and so impressive and such a good quality of build. I thoroughly enjoyed building this. I put the entire thing together in about 4.5 hours because I couldn't stop. I really just couldn't stop. It's like opening up a Lego kit and just assembling it all. I would say even an absolute beginner would have no problems assembling this kit. I think it's accessible to anybody. It really is very, very good. And if perhaps you're a little bit, maybe a bit shaky with your hands or your eyesight isn't so good anymore, building something at this scale might be just the thing for you because everything's just that bit bigger. And so everything's easier to assemble. I found it an absolute joy. I would absolutely build another one, but I just need a bigger house before I can. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this review and happy modelling, everyone.